Probably an amalgamation of the two.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Alberto. I think, Lucian, if you take a seat in the front, please.
Yeah, I'm just going over the questions. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So can I just sit like right here? Will that be fine?
Yeah. Perfect. There's no, seating plan or anything, but I think there's enough.
But I just wonder if I'll fit in the screen. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I can fit. Okay, I'll fit in the field of view. Hello.
Oh yeah, you definitely will.
Sure.
Hi, Ollie. Hi, Luca.
Hello.
Hi, Thenia. Perfect. Well done, everybody. Taking your seats. So Nathan, I'm not sure if Nathan is able to join us.
He said that he will be joining now. So
he will be. Okay, fantastic. Perfect. I'm going to pop myself just here. Hi, Ollie. Nods all round. That's nice to see.
When will Dan be joining?
Well, it's past. It's starting, so within the next few moments.
Sorry because I was trying to put on a suit, but my engage would have crashed. So.
Okay, that's fine. Ollie, did you put your hand up, my love?
No, not on purpose.
Okay, that's fine. Luca, have you closed your window?
I've closed every other window, so there should be no lag.
Perfect.
It's actually a smart idea. I'll do that too.
Yeah, and then also just to remember when you're not speaking, please just pop yourselves on mute just to remove as much interference or background noise as possible. Thank you.
And I think it would be better if everyone puts on a headset as well, or like some headphones, so there's no background echoing.
Lucian.
Yeah.
Could I pretty please sit there with sprinkles of sugar on top?
Yes.
Yippee!
Thank you.
Why, Luca?
I like this view.
Okay.
That's the other reason.
That's kind of you, Lucian. No questions asked.
Yeah. Okay, so we're starting in 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, we'll be starting shortly.
Yeah. How will the layout work? Will each of us be asked the list of questions and then we move on to the next person, or are we gonna get to answer for the first question? I can't remember what it is, but what made you go into Sophia? So will it be first Luca, Ollie, then Xenia, then me? That answer?
I'm not sure, my love.
I think it's more relaxed. It's just you can answer if you want, and if you don't, then you.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll move across the line. He might, but
I didn't memorize anything, so.
You don't have to memorize.
Yeah, you don't need to. Remember, it's just a nice chat about your experiences. Hi, Darren.
Hello. Nice to see you all. Hey,
nice to see you too.
Enya, Luki, and Rose. How are you all?
Really well, thanks. How are you?
Good. So let me just. Are we all? So we're just waiting to see if Melissa's going to be she's on another call at the moment, isn't she?
Yes, she is. Yeah. So hopefully she can join us soon. It's just Nathan as well from this side, but I do know he has an appointment, so I'm not sure whether. Although Luca, did he say he was definitely able to join?
No, but I'll text him now just to see.
Yeah, because in science, Nathan said he would join. So.
Okay, perhaps he's just
I'll message him on WhatsApp.
Logging
No
in.
problem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fine, no worries. How are you all today? How are you all this morning? Are you well?
Very good, thank you.
Well? Yeah? Great. Did you all get a chance to look at the questions?
A quick look.
I had one question. So, are we going to move across? So, you'll ask the first question, and then Luca, Ollie, Xenia, and then me answer.
No, I think what I'll do is I'll slightly mix it up a bit.
Okay.
Are there any? I mean, if we look at the questions are there any that anyone would particularly like me to ask them? Because I'll make sure I ask all of you, sort of, you all get the chance to speak. But what I won't do is ask all of you to answer every question, if that makes sense.
I don't mind answering any questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot though.
No worries. Well, I think what I'll do is I'll probably what I tend to do with these podcasts is I tend to just ask a question, and then it's quite organic. So basically, it might be that one person says something, and I might say, "Okay, yeah, I might ask Enya a question." She answers, and they say, "Oh, how about you, Lucian? Can you is there anything else you want to add?" Or also, if someone's speaking and you're like, "Do you know what, I want to add something to that," you can wait until they finish speaking and then just carry on speaking after them. So there's nothing strict about this at all. It's pretty relaxed.
All right.
Excellent.
I don't know if Nathan will be coming. He hasn't texted me, but
He's there.
Wait,
He's behind you.
Wait.
Behind you, there he is. Look. Hey,
Nathan!
Nice to see you.
Fantastic. Hi, Nathan.
Oh, hello.
Okay, perfect. I think we're all here.
I'm just trying to remind myself about how to turn off my microphone so that when people are speaking, I'm not on. Can anyone remind?
Are you on a keyboard?
Oh, yeah, I'm on a Mac.
So it's F. Do you have the F1 button?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, got it. Yeah. F1.
Push that and we'll see if it works. So. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, it seems to be working. Perfect. So what do you think, Rose? Shall we wait for a few more minutes, or should we make a start? I've kept the morning completely free, so.
Okay. I think obviously some of the questions for Miss Melissa I won't be able to answer. So I don't know if we want to wait and see if she can join us for those, or if we want to go ahead with the questions we can answer and then do those ones after.
Sure. I mean, what would be the ones, if I look at the ones that I've got directed at Melissa initially, Rose, which are the ones that you think you could answer? I mean, I'm basically, the way I'd like to run this is I'd like to ask some sort of opening questions around Sophia High School, how it started, what the philosophy is behind it, and then, talk about some of the technology which underpins. So kind of spend the first part of the podcast kind of talking more broadly, and then obviously move towards speaking to the individual students about their experience. So the Dragon's Den pitch, etc., kind of comes slightly towards the end. So, because I think what a lot of people are going to be really interested in is the model, the model of school that you've got and how it's being, and then get the kind of the first person perspective and experience of the students. So I think initially, so is there anything that's kind of in those questions that you really just think, well, I just can't answer that? Or do you think broadly speaking, you can answer quite well?
I think I can give I think I can explain from my side why the school was set up, and definitely more about the project-based led work that we do. But I think, there's a couple of them I think that are more about the initial setup of the school, which I couldn't answer.
Okay, I'll phrase it in such a way that you're able to answer it. And Rose, what is your official title, just so I get that right?
My official title is Head of IOIC.
Of IOIC?
IMYC, the International Middle Years Curriculum.
Okay, so head of so you run the IMYC? Okay.
Yes.
I realise that. That's really interesting. I was one of the first schools to bring that into the UK, actually, way back in 2009, 2008, 2009, something like that, when it was.
Oh wow!
Yeah, a long time ago. School in Cambridge. I really liked the whole that whole curriculum right the way through from the IPC, IMYC, and it's really, really nice curriculum.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's amazing, and you've seen what it results in. So,
no, absolutely. Shall we? Okay, well, let's make a start then. So, what I do is I will introduce. I'll introduce the podcast, and then I'll start asking questions, and then as soon as I ask the question, I'll go on mute, and then we'll take it from there. How does that sound, everyone? All good?
Perfect.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we all on mute. Alberto, could you just pop your microphone, just because it's really important that I have as little background noise as possible when I'm actually running the pod. That's perfect. Great. Okay, well, welcome to the Educate podcast, to a very, very special edition. And I'm really, really thrilled, actually, to be sitting in the literary salon of the Engage Metaverse for what I think might be one of the first examples of a podcast run in this way in the Metaverse. And I have with me some very special guests that I'm really thrilled and honored to have sharing the podcast with me today in this kind of special edition of the podcast. So I have with me the head of IMYC, Rosanna Sparks, and the students of Sophia High School, which is an online school which uses the Metaverse very heavily in its teaching. It's one of the first schools in the world to do so, and the results that the school is getting really are quite remarkable. Last week, I had the real privilege of judging a Dragon's Den held here in the Engage Metaverse. And as a result, I was just so impressed by the quality of the pictures of the students that I asked for them all to come on to my podcasts. And we're going to come on to speaking to the students very shortly, but we've got Lucian, we've got Xenia, Alberto, Ollie, Luca, and Nathan all with me in the Metaverse. And I'm hoping that you're able to be watching this on video. Obviously, it's available in audio as well. But if you can watch it on video, you'll actually be able to see all of us sitting in the literary salon. And if you look at me, I'm not quite as suntanned as I look in the Metaverse, but it's quite flattering, I think, as to how suntanned I look. So, again, thank you to you all for coming onto the podcast this morning. And I'm actually going to turn to Rose to start with. Rose, who's head of the International Middle Years curriculum at the school and has really been instrumental in so much of what the school is pioneering at the moment. So, Rose, I wonder whether I can start just by asking you just maybe to give us a little bit of background about Sophia High School. You know, how did it start? What is its philosophy? How does it leverage, technology? And just to give a broad overview to the listeners so they can really understand exactly what some of the background is to the high school.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. But first of all, just to say thank you so much for having us as well. It's a pleasure to be here talking about our experiences. So Sophia High School was set up, we're into the third full year now. And I think the vision behind it really is to provide a British curriculum to students who are all around the world. And also for students who have perhaps struggled a little in mainstream schools. So they're able to join our school, learn what they would in a British curriculum school in this fun, unique way. So it's really allowing the students to come to life and to access the education in an environment they feel comfortable in as well. And whether that's in a different country or in their home country. So it's really lovely to see students from all over the world joining Sophia High. We've got time zones from everywhere. Lucian, I know you're currently in Canada, so a few hours behind us as well. And we've got students in the Middle East too. So just allowing, like I say, for that inclusive environment for everybody all over the world to access the education. And obviously we're an online school, so there's a lot of technology from the offset there, but we've also introduced lessons into the Metaverse. So we've got lots of the students have their own headsets, the teachers have their headsets too. So we go in to engage, we go to different locations. So we can go off, if, for example, we're learning about space, we can go up into the space station, go off into the planets, and just have that really, it provides a really interactive way of learning, but immersive. We can really immerse ourselves into the learning and into those experiences. And the students are loving it, and we as the teaching staff are really enjoying it too.
It's just so interesting. So at what point did you bring the Metaverse in right from the start, or has it been something that you brought in slightly more recently?
It's been in for, I'd say, just over a year, where we've been going into it gradually. But it's only within the last 6 months, really, that there's been a bigger focus on it. So much so that even the Key Stage 1 students now have their own Engage accounts, and they go into the Metaverse as well. So it's across the whole school. So yeah, we've got 4-year-olds who are experiencing the joys of it as well, all the way up to currently year 9. So yeah, we've been looking at it and introducing it gradually over the last 18 months or so. But the last 6 months especially we've had a real focus on it, so much so the students are so technologically advanced anyway, but we can be in there within seconds now, which is fantastic.
I think what obviously the immersive element's really, really important. What else do you think it adds? I'm going to ask the same question to the students in a moment, but I'm quite keen from your perspective as an educator, Rose, what do you think that the Metaverse actually adds to your experience as a teacher?
I think, firstly, just the experience of it is fantastic, and being able to go to places we just couldn't go to, as we're all over the world as well. We can't have a field trip out together. So being able to do that and experience places that we wouldn't be able to access, but also what's most important and what I really see is how the students just come to life. They really feel confident in the space, and you just get the best and the most out of the students. And I feel that they enjoy it because it's really fun as well. And so they're learning a lot in a fun way, wanting to be there, but also perhaps having that slight removal of the face-to-face interaction allows lots of the students just to feel truly comfortable and therefore want to engage and show their best. So it really does add a lot to the experience and to what the students are learning from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I can fully understand that. I think that if I think about my experience as a teacher and as a student, to be honest with you, because I wasn't a very good student, I didn't particularly enjoy school myself. I think if I'd had this option, I'd have been asking my parents to enroll me in Sophia High School, because it wasn't, I didn't have a particularly great experience. As you know, many students struggled with bullying, etc. So I can totally understand why this is it's a very unthreatening environment. You know, it's an environment where students can have their avatar and they can feel kind of slightly protected by it, that they're not going to be put in the spotlight, which I think for lots of students does mean that they can relax and maybe be themselves. Ironically, even though they're in the metaverse, maybe be themselves a little bit more. I'm actually going to thank you. That was really interesting, and I'm going to come back to you because I have other questions to ask as well. But I'm actually going to turn to students. I'm really, really interested to know what any of you want to talk about. Maybe the journey to you becoming a student at Sophia High School. What led you to enrolling? So I'm going to open that up to any of the students who maybe want to kick that off and just maybe say a little bit about why you enrolled into the high school in the first place. Who's going to be brave?
I could.
Okay.
Let's start, Luca. You kick off, and then I'll pass on to Xenia.
First of all, thank you for having us again.
My pleasure.
So after I finished my primary school experience, I went to high school, and I was there for maybe around 6 months or so. It wasn't a very good school. I faced bullying and stuff, and there were very bad teachers there. It was a very horrible experience. And when it was Christmas break, we knew that I had to get out of the school because I just couldn't take it anymore. So we found the school. And even just the first training day for the school was super lovely. I was taught by Miss Jennifer how to go around the school, the classes, and what everything means. And it's a very welcoming and lovely experience to be at the school because everyone's just so nice, and it's like a big, lovely community. And everyone knows each other, everyone respects each other usually, and it's a really lovely place to be.
Thank you for your honesty as well, Luca. It sounds like a really transformational experience for him. So pleased it's been. And we'll come on later to your extraordinary idea for your pitch that I saw your video for. But it's clearly that's a really good example of the power of this particular program and what you've been able to achieve. So, look, Xenia, it'd be great to hear about your background, your stories. I know you're based in the UAE.
Yes, I am based in the UAE. I was sick, so my mom was like, let's find an online school. So she came across Sophia High, and we were like, yeah, this looks like a nice school. So we joined Sophia High, and it was amazing. Like, their way of teaching everything was just amazing. And I loved it. Miss Rose taught me how to use everything. And I agree with Luca that it's just a very good experience from previous physical schools that I've gone to.
Thank you, Xenia. So really, both of your routes to Sophia High School quite different, but clearly for both of you, a really transformative experience. Anyone else want to kind of maybe share something around their journey to joining Sophia High School? Lucian, yes.
Yeah, so the main reason why I joined Sophia High is because I live in Qatar, Doha, so the schools there aren't the best, so me and my dad decided to start looking for online schools, and we came across a couple, but the most interesting thing for me definitely was the Metaverse. So I joined around 6 months ago when the Metaverse started getting implemented. So yeah, it was definitely interesting because I've never heard of Metaverse schooling before. So yeah, it was definitely a very welcoming experience, and yeah.
Lucian, what do you like most about learning in the metaverse?
Well, I think that mainly it's because it's limitless. So when when we had drama class, like we could do Macbeth plays inside of the metaverse. Like Miss Rose said, when we were learning about astrology, or if we learn about astrology, we can go on planets. Just mainly that it's limitless, that there's no boundaries, I guess.
How much of your lesson time is? This is to Lucian or anyone actually. How much of your lesson time is spent in the metaverse?
I think we use it on average we use it like 3 to 4 times a week. I think recently we've been using it quite often.
And so the rest of the time it's using video conferencing, yeah?
Yeah, Google Meet.
Okay, so Alberta, I'm going to come to you. In what way, because you're standing at the back there, in what ways, what sort of lessons have you had in the metaverse? Well, I think maybe we've got some problems with Alberta's mic.
Alberta's from the tech team, Darren.
Do you know what? And that's one of the poor Alberta. Sorry, Alberta, you stand down. I'll ask Ollie. Ollie, how are you using the metaverse in your lessons, and how often do you go into the metaverse when you're learning?
Like Lucian said, we go into the metaverse a lot, and for science, you can watch like 360 videos about what you're learning, and it's really interesting, and you get to learn in a different way. It's really fun to do.
And Nathan, what about you? In what ways have you recently used the metaverse?
So we've used the metaverse for doing things related to science and really experimenting with the eye effects feature and engage to learn how animals float, for example, in the water like sharks, or do like what Ollie said about do the 360 camera spin with the videos, which are really helpful to learn because you feel like an immersive experience and you learn a lot about like just the very in-depth version of just watching a video, and also things like English where we do plays and learn inside of the metaverse is another way we learn in general.
So did you say IFX?
Yes, it's a feature in Engage where you can spawn in through different things or animals, where maybe you could spawn in sharks or bears to really show like animals in the actual Engage.
So you become sort of going. Tell me how that specifically works. That sounds fascinating. I've not heard of that before. How does talk me through how you use that particular feature?
So to use it, normally in the menu, there's maybe a sign that looks like 3 cubes. Currently it's disabled, but you would see a lot of different pages and numbers at the bottom, where if you press on one of those things, it goes up into the sky and you can move it around. And there's multiple different things, and there's infinite amounts from numbers to animals, like I said, to excavating materials and all that kind of related things.
Oh, so it allows you to sort of manipulate objects in the metaverse.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, yeah, Luca. Thank you, Nathan. Really interesting.
Yes, so just branching off of what Nathan said, it's like you can import 3D objects into the session you're in. So again, you can import a hippo into the session. You can enlarge it, scale it down, rotate it, move it around. And you can do that like with, again, lots of other objects and stuff. But yeah.
My mind is being blown here. Rose, I'm going to come back to you because I'm also quite keen to understand maybe some of the challenges that you've experienced bringing in these new technologies.
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest challenge we faced was just getting access to it for everybody to be able to log in. It took a while, I think, for us all to be able to get in within a few minutes. And, our lessons are 40 minutes. We want to make sure that we've got optimal time for learning. So initially, I think it was just that, just logging in and getting ready. Some of the rooms, it requires quite a lot of Wi-Fi connection and strength. And so students who didn't have access to that found it trickier to join the sessions. So I think just a few teething problems initially with that. But once we got through that, it was amazing. And, we are through it. And like I say, we can join within a minute and everybody's in there, being able to import their IFXs if they had access. And being able to learn within it. So I think that was the biggest challenge. Still occasionally dropping out due to internet connection. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we noticed. Just you need to have a secure connection, otherwise you won't be able to remain in. But once that comes back, you can rejoin the session. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we've faced.
I noticed when we did the Dragon's Den event, the slightly unnerving experience of having someone suddenly disappear.
Yeah, exactly. And I think because we had quite a few people in there as well, it becomes a little bit glitchy. So I think there is a limit of how many people you can have in each session too.
If you were to give advice to anyone who's interested in establishing the metaverse in their schools, whether they're online schools or whether hybrid or whether the majority of learning is still taken face to face, what sort of is there anything you think you've learned in the last kind of 6 to 12 months that other schools might be interested to know about to maybe make the transition slightly easier?
Yeah, I think just being really open-minded with it, just embracing it and persevering. It does take a while to get set up and for the students to get familiar with it all, but it's so worthwhile. So just, have patience with it, but really go for it, embrace it, because we use it in every subject in the school and it does add to the learning. It really does add something to what the students gain from those lessons. So embracing it, practicing in your own time as well, logging into sessions and just getting familiar with even just how to move around, and then the instructions that you need to give to the students, or, for example, showing them how to bring in those IFXs, or just teleporting from place to place. There's brilliant features on it as well, where you saw when we did our Dragon's Den pitch how you can share slideshows that you've created previously. So you can upload those to the Engage account as well, and then you have access to them whilst you're in Engage. So just learning about all of the tools that are there, making it easier for you to access whilst you're in Engage as well. And like I say, just adding to that learning experience for the students. But my biggest piece of advice is just go for it and persevere, because it's so worth it.
I guess also, it doesn't really matter whether it's the metaverse or whether it's video conferencing or whatever. Get the infrastructure right first. Make sure that you've got really good, strong Wi-Fi, because, as you say, there's nothing worse than bringing something new into the school and then the technology lets you down, because most students and teachers have a very low tolerance for things that don't work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a necessity with this. You need to have that strong connection. Otherwise, like you say, it just won't work. and then you'll be less inclined to use it.
I know that Melissa, the founder of Sophia, who we're hoping can join us, but I know has been called onto another extremely important call, so I will be catching up with her later. But I know that Melissa's been very interested in the concept of spatial computing, and I've noticed that Ollie and I'm not sure, maybe also Nathan, but I'm not sure who else have VR headsets. I'm just wondering, Ollie, maybe if I can turn to you first. What do you think wearing a VR headset? Because I know you don't have to wear one. You know, I'm not wearing one. I don't have a VR headset. I'm just wondering what additional benefit having a VR headset gives you when you're working inside the metaverse.
With a headset, it's like you're actually in the metaverse. You can see everything like you would in real life. So it's really, really cool and a nice experience to have a headset.
So I'm trying to imagine it, because I have to say, I think I used one once many years ago, but I haven't used one for a long time. So what you're basically saying is you're sitting here obviously in this library, and you can literally just look around and you can see people around you, and it's as if you're actually sitting in the library.
Yes.
And what about the hand controllers that you have? In what way are they beneficial?
Currently, I am on my computer because my headset is out of battery. It just ran out. But there you can interact with things with your controllers and pick up things. It's with IFX and stuff, so it's very cool.
Okay, and thank you. Nathan, I'm guessing you also have access to, and you're using yours at the moment because
yes, I am.
And so what does it, you're, as someone who's right now in this podcast wearing a headset and having with the hand controllers, in what way do you use those when you're learning in the metaverse?
In learning, I use it to more express my emotions and do physical hand signs, and it's really convenient to use because it's like you literally have a pair of hands in the actual engage meeting. So you can also, for things like Macbeth that we've been doing, I can really be involved with the drama physically and look like I'm actually involved as well. Also, the controllers they're very easy to use. There's not many buttons or functions. I mean, there's not too many buttons. It's not really that complicated, as well as they are very useful for many other things.
Do you know, that's really fascinating, and I hadn't actually thought about that. But it's only now being in the metaverse and seeing what you're doing, Nathan, and obviously, Ollie, before your handset died and your hands dropped to your sides. I kind of know if people are using a handset or not because it's whether their arms are animated. But actually, your gestures, what we call non-verbal communication, are so important to how we communicate, aren't they? And actually having hand controllers, which as you move your arms in the real world, your arms, exactly what you're doing at the moment, Nathan, it actually gives you a lot more ability to communicate within the space. So I can absolutely see how beneficial actually having hand controllers is when you're working, particularly for I'm a English and drama teacher, so you absolutely want your students to be able to move their hands around and to actually express, because it is part of the dramatic performance. So it's actually really, really fascinating. I hadn't considered that before. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Nathan. Let's move on now. Okay, so what I want to do now is maybe talk a little bit about the Dragon's Den pitch that you were all involved in last week. And I'm going to actually ask Xenia first, because all of the pictures were incredible, but obviously, Xenia, yours came out on top. It was very, very narrow, I have to say. I mean, really, we were struggling to decide between any of the pictures because they were just all so good. But Xenia, could you you maybe say a little bit about, you know, what it was, how you were introduced to the topic, the journey you went on to your pitch, and maybe something about what you learned about the process as a result?
Yes, so I have type 1 diabetes. So I was looking for a dessert for my birthday, okay, and I got it. And I was like, I could make a better dessert than this. I was like, this is not good. Okay, so when Miss Rose told us we were doing a pitch deck, I was like, this idea is more personal to me. I'll choose this to do. So I gathered a lot of research on it, and I learned a lot from it, actually, about the keto market. And yeah, it was quite fascinating to learn about it. To gather the facts and statistics, it was quite nice.
So the project of creating the pitch deck actually did enable you to learn, and as well as obviously the process of pitching and the understanding of what it means to pitch and create a pitch deck, but also you actually learned quite a lot about the keto diet as well as a result.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I did.
Rose, what was the background to you deciding to work with the students on this particular project?
So we were following the entrepreneurship unit in IMYC, and we had met previously with some of the founders of a beauty company, FemPower, and they came in and shared their ideas and their experience of starting up their business from the beginning. We spoke about the journey of firstly coming up with an idea and went through every single process that an entrepreneur needs to follow through. And then we just gave the students a chance for them to choose what they wanted to focus on. And I think that's the beauty of these project-based nature, the project-based work that we do, the nature of it, is that it gives them ownership of their learning as well. And as Xenia said, she could choose something that she was really interested in and something that's actually relevant to her and her life, and go through this process with a focus of something that she was interested in, but also learning the steps and how to apply those to it for herself as well. And every single one, well, as you saw with their pitch decks, they were all so different, but all of the ideas the students came up with themselves. And it was something, like I say, that they were passionate about finding information about and showcasing and presenting in their pitch decks. And I think, it just makes it all much more meaningful. And, we all know when it's something that we want to learn about or that we want to know, we put so much more into it too. And that was so evident. So I think, we followed the entrepreneurship unit from IMYC, but then adapted it to the needs of the students in the school as well, and giving them that autonomy with their learning too. And the outcome was just incredible. I mean, I've said it before, but just the enthusiasm in the lessons, in the classroom, and the buzz around, wanting to keep developing these and facing issues, facing problems, but then thinking, okay, well, how can I overcome that then? And putting all of that learning into action, creating these pitch decks, and then coming in to engage in this immersive experience and being able to actually pitch them to dragons. Yeah, it was just amazing. Can you hear me?
You may be on mute.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Yeah, we can hear you, miss.
I think there's some problem on Darren's end.
Yeah. Let's just wait.
Okay. We'll resolve it.
Hello?
Hello, yeah, we can hear.
Sorry, yeah, no, interesting. I'm not quite sure what happened. My microphone dropped out for a moment. I was just saying that the different topics that the students chose obviously came from a need, I don't know, there was something which sparked off the idea, and they were also diverse. So, I mean, if I just maybe turn to Ollie with your idea, which I've got no idea where that came from. So you had the idea of the door guard for car doors. Where did that come from? What was the kind of the background to you deciding on something which, you know, for someone of your age seems like a kind of an unusual thing to develop, or an unusual idea to have?
Yeah, well, I just thought that it's inconvenient having to slowly edge your way out of a car without hitting another car when you're parked. And my sister is fairly clumsy, and she scratched someone else's car, and I thought a door guard would make that not happen.
And so, okay, so you had that initial idea. You I don't know, I'm guessing you kind of were in a car and you just thought, oh, hang on a minute, that's really, or maybe your sister bashed someone else's car door by mistake or whatever. Talk me through the process that you went through, because I think this is the thing that's most interesting to me about project-based learning and inquiry-based learning, where you don't even necessarily know the outcome at the end, but you have an idea as to how you want things to develop. Talk me through your thought processes from the moment you thought, well, actually, my sister needs one of these, to you actually developing your idea, because that's, I think, the thing that's most interesting here.
Yeah, well, once I'd thought of the idea, I just sat down at my desk and thought, how would this work? How big? What would it have to be made of? And once I'd thought up all those things, I started on my pitch deck.
So you literally just did a big brain dump of everything that you could think about to do with this particular problem.
Yeah, I thought of everything that I needed to for it to work.
Okay, I mean, honestly, what you guys are learning is just so I can't tell you how valuable this is. I mean, you're being set up to be major problem solvers in the world in the future, and there are just so many problems, and you'll be able to apply this knowledge into so many different contexts. So really, you know, all credit to the school for giving you this opportunity. Luca, I want to turn to you because obviously, you know, I saw your video, your little sort of pitch deck video, and I was just so impressed by it. Talk me through the background to your idea. Where did it come from? And then maybe the process that you went through to create that little pitch deck video.
Sure. So when I was 7 years old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And well, ever since then, for many, many years, I had to carry around this very large blood kit with me so I could test my sugars whenever I needed to. And I'd get in the way of my day all the time. Like I'd have to do it every 20 minutes to know my sugars and if I need insulin into my body or whatever. Thankfully, I don't use that anymore, but I know that a lot of people do, and they just don't have the money, or they just can't afford or get the new tech out there. So I decided to make this very lightweight, small, cheap product that you can plug into your phone and then insert a blood testing strip into it and do all your medical stuff like that. And you can see your numbers on your phone. And it's just much more, I'd say, easy to use, and you save a lot of time in your day. So, yeah. And
the video that you produced, talk to us about, you know, what was the process? Why did you decide to do it? And how did you go about filming it? Because it was very professionally done, I have to say.
Yeah, so I actually made it for this upcoming event at school on Friday, where you showcase a piece of art or work or whatever that you want to. And I was like, well, I didn't make it to the final, so I think I should just make a mock-up advert for my products. So I did that, and then I sent it to Miss Rose, and she really loved it. And it became quite popular on LinkedIn, I believe. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting it to get much attention at all. I didn't expect it to go online, and that's just a mock-up as well. So I'm very surprised, actually.
Yeah, no, it has gone kind of viral on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it kind of has.
Yeah, which is great, which is really great. And is this something that you're quite keen to maybe look at, like, properly developing? I mean, what are your thoughts, sort of next steps on it?
Well, yeah, originally, this isn't really what I want to do with my life, but originally I wasn't really planning on making it. But recently I think that, well, I should give it a shot. I mean, lots of people don't know that that's a mock-up video, so I think I shouldn't disappoint and maybe try and make some prototypes or whatever. But I wasn't really intending on making it, but I think it'd be really cool too.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's a market there, without any doubt, to have something very small and very, very portable. So no, well done. Really very, very interesting. It was an interesting concept. And I think what I'm hearing from all of you, and I'm going to turn to you, Lucian, in a moment, because I'm quite keen to just sort of, because what you did your pitch on obviously is something you've been looking at for many years, and obviously just sort of developed further. But I think what I'm hearing from you all with this approach to project-based learning is that you're taking something which is of interest to you and of relevance to you. You know, it's something that these are genuine problems, whether you have a clumsy sister who bashes car doors, or whether you have type 1 diabetes and you're looking at a testing mechanism or a new sort of diet or just sort of tasty things that you can enjoy because your diet is limited for whatever reason. I think you've taken things which are genuinely important to you, and you're using those as a way to sort of explore and to learn. And I genuinely think this is the future for education. I think the days of you learning disembodied subjects that don't have an enormous amount of relevance to you in your life are probably numbered. And I think that, you will learn as much through, Xenia's point there, that she learned masses about nutrition and diet through this project, probably way more than if you just kind of studied it as a sort of a dry standalone subject. And I think if I turn to you, Lucian, with your crypto idea, which, as I said to you on when I spoke to you last week at the Dragon's Den event, I am the world's worst crypto investor. I've been fascinated by years, but I'm really bad at it. I'm too emotional. I'm just not. I'm just not the sort of person that really should be investing, and I've given up now. But I'm quite keen to know from your perspective as to how this has improved your understanding of crypto and maybe what you're planning to do with this in the future.
Well, I mean, yeah, so the reason why I started it was because a lot of my dad's friends also really enjoyed or wanted to invest into just assets in general. So I would give them advice on what to invest in and how I see the market. And I just decided, why not make this into a course? So it's just a little more organized. And yeah, that's just where the idea came from. And
what do you think you learned through the process both about crypto, but also about, the process of pitching an idea?
Well, I mean, I definitely got more confident because I was a little worried about presenting because, I was never the best with presenting things. So and about the crypto market, I definitely learned a lot that I didn't know prior to starting this, but more about the market rather than the actual aspect of investing and trading assets.
Yeah, and the market, the way the market moves, well, I say it's quite important, but I'm never really sure because crypto seems to be so random in the way that prices move a lot of the time. So literally anyone who can make money from it, hats off to them. I'm going to just kind of want to round off the podcast just by maybe asking a couple of you. So Nathan, in what way do you think this education that you're getting is really helping to prepare you for the future? What is this maybe giving you that a conventional school maybe wouldn't be giving you?
This is definitely giving me an advantage for I get more in-depth learning. I feel like I'm more involved with the learning as someone who's went to many different public schools. When you're sitting in a class and kind of just taking in information, it isn't really good for your mental learning because as you go into each lesson, you don't really remember all the things that you do in your actual lessons because they've all just been thrown into your brain and they're not made in a or not presented in a memorable way. But compared to the school now, where I feel like I'm more in depth in my learning and the lessons are less longer, so I can really think about what I just learned rather than having to think instantly about everything else I have going on in my day compared to an actual school, which I definitely prefer.
And Luca, thank you, Nathan. That's really interesting, actually. And Luca, what about you? Because obviously you've had some challenges, as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. Well, in what way do you think this is helping you for your future?
Well, I think some of the opportunities that the school gives you, obviously, outstanding, incredible. We get to make our own pitch decks. We get to actually present them to incredible people like you. It's a really incredible experience being at the school because you just learn so much. The teachers give you valuable time and they can do one-on-ones. They really make sure that you understand the work, the topic, and they really treat you properly and how everyone wants to be treated. So it's absolutely incredible, this school.
Luca, is there anything that you miss about going to a kind of a sort of a bricks and mortar conventional school?
Mainly just being able to socialize a bit more. At this school, obviously, it's a bit limited, obviously, because we're online. We do have a socializing room or classroom where we can go in and just relax and chat to people after class, which is good, but the only thing I pretty much miss is not being able to just go up to someone, ask them how their day is, and then get into a conversation, become friends. Because there is not as many people in your class, but apart from that, I think that's pretty much the only thing I miss, honestly.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I mean, Ollie, from your perspective, is there any ways that you, or any of you, maybe we'll just ask Ollie initially, any ways in which you can kind of deal with that? I mean, for example, are there ways that you're able to socialize outside of school?
I have kept a lot of friends from my physical school and I live quite close to them. So I hang out with them a lot. So the social side is fine for me.
And what about you, Xenia? I mean, is that something you're able to do as well?
No, not really. Not here anymore. I do keep in touch with many of my school friends. I did have a lot of friends in school, but kept only one or two of them. That's it.
And do you find that, is that okay? Or is that something that you miss at conventional school?
I mean, it's something that I miss sometimes, but I mean, that's good too, because at Sophia, we can focus more on our studies than, chatting with the friends, getting distracted. I feel that's a great thing about Sophia.
Yeah, no, there is definitely something to that. I agree. Just last question, I suppose, and I'm going to ask, I'll ask Rose first. If people are interested in joining a school like Sophia, joining Sophia's or schools like yours, what would you say? What would be kind of your elevator pitch be in terms of what it can offer students that maybe other schools can't.
Yeah, I think, like you said just a few moments ago, about just the future of education. And I think something that we do really well at Sophia High is providing these opportunities for the students to learn, but in an immersive and project-based way. So not only are they learning some content, as Xenia said, she did learn a lot about nutrition, but that wasn't the focus of the learning goal there. But doing it in their chosen way, in a project-based format, but learning the skills. And I think, as we've said already, that's what's most important for the future, not necessarily all of the facts or thinking about lots of things that have happened in the past and remembering dates and things, but the actual skills, problem solving, critical thinking, applying their learning in lots of different contexts. And that's what we focus on here. And it's proving, that it is working. And these students, they're our future. And so being able to give them these opportunities to develop these skills for the future is just wonderful. And I think also we have a real focus on, obviously, them being digital citizens, but also global citizens, so how they can take this learning forward for the benefit of everybody in the world as well. So I would say if people are looking at Sophia High and they are interested, then definitely do come and join us. Like you said, the education of the future, helping build and develop the people of the future, and also having fun with it.
And that's so important, just the fun. And one thing that really struck me about the event that I was involved in last week was just a lot of fun being in this sort of big old virtual hall and seeing these pitch decks, and just a really fun experience that I think really, I would imagine as a student could be quite energizing. Nathan, I'm going to ask you to finish off if you were to, if someone of your age was to come to you and say, "Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe it's for me. Maybe it isn't." What would you say to them to kind of, not convince them, but to give them a really good understanding as to what this education is giving you right now?
I'll definitely convince them to do it. It's a different thing. It's definitely something that you have to try at least once in your life. And if you don't like it, that's okay, but I would definitely recommend it. You get more in-depth learning. You get involved. Metaverse is literally the future now, and is the way to get updated in life in general. So I'll definitely recommend it to other people, although if they don't really like the metaverse and VR, which I completely understand, as I know people who get sick when they enter VR, then that is perfectly fine. But other than that, I'll definitely recommend it.
And I think thank you, Nathan. That's a really important point, that one of the benefits of the metaverse is you don't have to be wearing a VR headset, as I said, and some of you aren't, and neither am I. We're not on VR, so it's not a compulsory requirement. I think the immersive nature of the metaverse is really fascinating, and I agree that it does feel like this is going to be more and more the way forward. The fact you've got students really from all over the world at Sophia High School is a very, very powerful model. So I want to say, look, thank you to you all. Thank you, Rose, Lucian, Xenia, Ollie, Luca and Nathan, Alberto in the background there for your technical support. Really appreciate the time you've taken to speak to me today, and genuinely looking forward to all of the amazing things I know you're all going to do in future. So thank you very, very much indeed.
Thank you for having us.
Darren.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, Darren.
Goodbye. Bye.
Thanks, Rose.
Thanks very much, Darren.
I hope that was it was really nice.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. I hope. It did. I think they got their experiences across, didn't they, as well, which is
They did.
so important.
And that was the main thing. I just wanted them all to, and it was really nice that they were able to speak so openly and very freely, actually, and very honestly about their experience. I think that was actually, that's going to be very, very powerful.
Yeah, I think, and that's the beauty of this as well, because I'm sure if we did a face-to-face meeting, even over Google Meet, it would have been very different. How much they wanted to share, which is why I think just having this opportunity to come to engage into a virtual space really does open up so much to them.
I think also when you're running something like this with a group of people, it's much easier to physically look around the room and spatially say, well, Lucian's here and Luca's there and Ollie's there, and you turn to them and you're looking at them and you're speaking to them. It actually makes interviewing a group of people online actually much easier.
Yeah, it does. It's a bizarre experience, isn't it? Because like you say, we're almost taking that one step back from connection, but really we are connecting more than we would in a Google Meet, just with our avatars rather than our faces.
But I also think that, these things are going to improve, and, just things like the facial mapping, but it won't be long before we're in these spaces and we literally are looking at a really realistic representation of ourselves. And so I think that's only improving all the time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, awesome. Look, thank you. I really enjoyed that. It was really fun. So if you want to send me the recording, what I will do is I'll clean it up. I'll clean up the audio, run it through some AI software just to clean it up, and then I'll send it back to you, and I'll publish it via my blog, but I'll also send it back to you for you just to put onto YouTube or whatever you want to do with it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, and have a great day, and it's been really nice to talk to you.
Thanks, Darren. You too. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.